Most of us, who have never set foot in Antarctica or at the North Pole, cannot even begin to picture what an iceberg or an ice shelf.
They told you the story. We tell you the truth. Welcome to Factslix.
In the past 20 years, the ice across Antarctica has started melting at a shocking speed. Yet, for most people, it doesn't seem to matter in our everyday lives. Why should we worry about it, right? But is it really like that? What if all the ice on the planet melted away? What kind of consequences would that bring for the entire world? Let's take a closer look. We already mentioned that Antarctic ice is shrinking rapidly, but what's the reason behind this? Since 1880, the average global temperature has risen by about 1.1 degrees. To some, a single degree may sound irrelevant, but it's not. Here's something more striking. 16 out of the 17 hottest years ever recorded have all occurred since 2001. That fact alone may be the clearest warning sign that something is deeply wrong. A sign that Earth is heating up, which directly speeds up the melting of the ice. And that leads to, well, we all know where that road goes. But before we dive further, aren't you curious why the planet is warming and why the heat keeps increasing year after year? NASA reported that there is a 95% certainty that human activity is the main driver of global warming since the mid-20th century. More precisely, everything started with the rapid technological boom, which raised the concentration of greenhouse gases. Gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and others are naturally present in the atmosphere. But over the last 100 years, their amounts have surged dramatically. Up to 62% of the extra heat trapped on Earth is linked to carbon dioxide alone. And we are to blame through the burning of fossil fuels in power plants, factories, and transport, as well as by cutting down forests. This percentage keeps climbing, which inevitably pushes global temperatures upward. In the 19th century, sea levels rose by 6 centimeters. In the 20th, by as much as 20 centimeters, 3 times more. Scientists warn that levels might increase by as much as 2.5 meters. Imagine what the world would look like then. Islands, peninsulas, and even coastal cities would be in serious danger. Places like the Maldives or Miami could vanish completely beneath the waves. But that is the reality we're already facing today. Now, what if all the ice on Earth melted? Sea levels would surge by a staggering 68 meters. Can you even picture what the world would become? If not, just try imagining a planet with far less land left to live on. Cities such as London, Rio de Janeiro, Tokyo, and New York would all sink underwater. Whole nations like the Netherlands and Bangladesh would disappear entirely. And that would only be the beginning of the catastrophe. Because then, hundreds of millions of people would be forced to search for new homes, triggering a global crisis. This is, of course, the worst-case scenario if every bit of ice melted. But even a more realistic outcome isn't looking good for humanity. At the current pace of sea level rise, scientists expect up to 150 million climate refugees by 2050, and possibly 2 billion by the year 2010. Let's hope they are wrong about this one. So, the biggest question is, how do we stop the disaster? Yes, all of us add a little to global warming by driving cars, or even just by having a refrigerator. But our share is tiny compared to massive industries and factories. Our best shot is to switch as much as possible to renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, and hydropower. If we learn to use the energy that Earth already gives us wisely, our connection with Mother Nature will change for the better. But if we keep destroying it, then nature will surely turn against us. The melting ice in Antarctica is a clear reminder that nothing in this world should be taken for granted. Just because something doesn't harm us right now, doesn't mean we should look the other way. After all, even the Titanic, the largest and most advanced ship of its time, never expected that an iceberg would be its end.
They told you the story. We tell you the truth. Welcome to Factslix.